Hello everyone and welcome to another high-low game of Age of Empires. Today, two gladiators who have been meeting on the sands of the ranked ladder Colosseum a lot recently. Well, they meet yet again as Hera, playing as the Koreans in blue, gets ready to take on MbL, playing as the Burgundians in yellow. Now, while the players herd their herdables, explore their immediate surroundings and try to get their butts up to Feudal Age ASAP, well, not a bad time for us to take a look at the Civ matchup that we are going to be watching today. Now, the Koreans are a civilization classified as quote-unquote defensive, but you wouldn't know it from how players are using it, since some of their static defensive bonuses can be used effectively in rush strategies. To start with, all Korean tower upgrades are free, and starting in Castle Age, their towers can be upgraded to get +2 range, and to help you build these defensive/offensive structures, Korean stone miners do work 20% faster than usual, and once they get out into the secondary stone pile, which Hera has discovered here in the forward position, well, they stay a little bit safer from raiding because Korean villagers come with +3 line of sight, so they see enemies coming from a mile away. Look at that line of sight as the villager moves south towards that lumber camp. Holy moly, can they see far. Now, if you want to engage in a bit more of a mobile style of warfare, I was going to say wolf fare, but that's not a word. The Korean military does come with a few powerful features. To start with, all of their archers and infantry units cost 50% less wood. Their archer units get free armor upgrades, so we'll take a look at the top left of our screen once Hera hits feudal and so forth. The minimum range on their mangonels is reduced from 3 to 1, which is an absolute godsend to any players who love their attack ground and want to practice that. And those very same mangonel line units can be upgraded to get 8 extra +1 range, which actually makes Korean onagers outrange certain towers and even castles in certain parts of the game. Now, if you're tired of playing defense, you want to roam around the map looking for those juicy kills, well, you can turn to the unique unit of the Koreans. Oh, almost lost control of the board there. The War Wagon. This is a mounted archer unit with a very healthy amount of HP, high base pierce armor, and one of the strongest based attacks of any archer unit in the game. Remember, though, remember the War Wagon is technically an archer unit, even though it looks like it might not be. So it does benefit from the free archer upgrades and the wood discount that I mentioned a little bit earlier. Pivoting our eye to the right side of the map, where we've got MbL playing as the Burgundian, an absolute oddball civilization with some of the wonkiest features in the entire game. To start with, the Burgundian military does primarily focus on its cavalry, being the only civ in the game to have access to cavaliers in the Castle Age, and its unique unit is the Custelier, a medium cavalry shock unit that has a huge +20, or if you go up to the elite version, +25 charge attack. Now, to support their cavalry on the field of battle against perhaps some stubborn ibexes. What is the plural of ibexes? Ibex. I always mean to look it up. I'm assuming it's just ibexes. In any event, to support their complete random tangent. To support their cavalry on the field of battle, Burgundian gunpowder units do come with 25% more attack, and they have access to a second unique unit, the Flemish Militiaman. This is a medium infantry unit with a pretty decent attack bonus against cavalry. Now, that's still not enough army for you. The Burgundians can conscript their entire civilian population, every single villager, by turning each and every one of them into a Flemish militiaman and allowing even more Flemish militia to be trained out of their barracks in a ridiculously powerful upgrade known as the Button. I should say informally known as the Button. Technically, it's called the Flemish Revolution, but we all like to refer to it as pressing the button. Now, to pay for the Burgundian war machine, Burgundian stable techs are 50% cheaper. Their relics generate food in addition to gold. All economic upgrades are available in Age earlier and cost less food, and their farmers, like Vietnamese lumberjacks, can be upgraded to generate a small amount of gold while they till their fields. Those are the two civilizations. These are the two players. Let's take a look at the maps. Let's see, as both players right now are heading up to the next stage. MbL, off the back of 3 fewer villagers, is going to hit it about 1 minute and 10 seconds ahead of his opponent. Hera racking up in a massive, unsightly 1 whole second of TC idle time. Let's take a look at these bases. Primary gold for our Korean exposed to the front, primary stone and additional gold in the rear. He's got a little bit of extra gold off to the side, and as we saw earlier, secondary gold very much exposed here to the front. 1, 2, 3 ridiculously tiny forests. Okay, Very, very sparse foliage on this map. Not really very helpful in the forward wall-off position, but flank shouldn't be too hard for Hera here to the south and the west as well. I mean, depends on where he wants to wall. This, here, here. No, we'll leave it up to Hera to show us where he wants to wall. For now, he is busy shooing away a very pesky Burgundian scout. And speaking of the Burgundians, forward position completely open. Ouch. West, south, all open. Also 3 tiny forests. Primary gold, nice and secure to the back. Primary stone, a little bit exposed to the front position, annoyingly surrounded by hills. Extra gold to the front as well. Actually, both piles of extra gold are to the front. And additional stone off to the side. MbL does not have a lot of resources here. He's got a tiny little forest, which is very annoying for anyone other than the Georgians and the Armenians with the donkey carts. This is probably not going to get taken. I shouldn't say probably not. In my opinion, probably he'll go for other forests as well. A relic to the side and another forest surrounding a lake. Man, is it annoying when the forests are surrounding lakes. It just makes it a little bit less cost efficient to put down 100 wood for a lumber camp over here as opposed to, you know, a bigger forest. But we'll see. For now, we've got a spearman chasing a spearman. The Burgundian one is a little bit injured. The scout we saw took a little bit of a poking from that villager earlier on, and Hera is beginning to wall off the forward portion of his base flank as well. So on the whole, these are fairly open bases. I don't see any particular major advantage or disadvantage to either player. One has their gold in the forward position. One has their stone in the forward position. Archery range already going up for our Burgundian. That is going to be the first of 2 structures he needs to go up. Hera also has an archery range. I like the spearmen patrolling here to the south. You never know where your opponent's going to show up. Now we've got a bit of a battle behind these trees in the secret forest in Bohemian Grove over here. And it looks like Hera is about to get the first kill. MbL realizes he was on the low ground for the longest time. Does take the high ground, but too late. And first blood is drawn by our Korean in blue, who finds himself yet again shooing away the very same Burgundian scout who was so antsy in the pantsy to get into here earlier. Looks like MbL might actually take this battle, and incredible. I mean, their HP is the same. To the naked eye, it looks like they were attacking at the exact same time, but it looked like MbL had just a split fraction nanosecond quicker attack than his opponent, and Hera realized that in the middle of microing everything up. It didn't even matter. Hero Spearman already. Actually, no. Where's the other one? Okay, I thought it was the same Spearman who got 2 kills, but no. Hera takes a massive 2-0 kill lead. Is this technically walled in? I don't know. Sometimes the elevation does play tricks on you in Age of Empires. Hera preferring the little bit here, little bit here, little bit here approach instead of waiting to construct the entire structure. MbL is going to try to sneak in here, and he's going to discover that the wall off is already up. But again, is this walled in? Or does he have to put... You see, this is what I'm talking about. From here to here, it looks like, oh, no, you know what? It's just an elevation. It's probably right next to each other. But no, there's an alley between these houses. So he had to place an entire palisade between them. And that's why I was wondering here as well. It kind of looks like the same situation with these 2 houses. But Hera's going to run away. Not too sure this army, even if it busts into here to the northern portion of the Korean settlement, if they're going to accomplish that very much. By the way, Hera has a nice forest to the rear of his base. MbL has decided not to incorporate any of these additional forests into his settlement. And MbL might have perhaps overstayed his welcome here. There is a big force of Korean units moving straight for him. Tiger moves to intercept. Tiger dies immediately. Now the scout is going to provide a little bit of target practice for these skirmishers as the archers close in. Hera's got to be careful here. These archers still do have... Or rather, the skirmishers still do have decent amount of pierce armor, and they do counter the archers. Okay, so the 2 skirmishers die. This cowardly spearman runs away. MbL deciding to save the 1 spearman as opposed to the 2 skirmishers. Did he notice? He's not noticing. He could have tried to tickle away 1 HP on this scout. Okay, MbL finally does manage to get 2 kills, picking off Spearmen with his skirmishers. They do come with a +3 attack bonus against Spearman line units, which makes them absolutely deadly. The game of cat and mouse in Feudal Age doesn't look like it's going to last very long, to be fair, because both players are heading up to Castle Age. MbL now has a whole 1 second of TC idle time more than his opponent, 15-16 seconds. And it looks like Hera, off the back of now of 1 fewer villager, 1 less villager, actually, I should say, is going to hit the next age roughly 25-30 seconds ahead of his opponent. Oh, javelin thrown, javelin hits, and down goes the scout of the Koreans, who, to be fair, does he really care? He's got 11 archers. I'm assuming the second he hits Castle Age, we're going to get to see the old crossbow Botkin combo. But I'm also assuming we're going to get to see Elite Skirmisher combo. Maybe, maybe not. Both players have a good amount of gold. Both players have a good amount of resources. MbL is the one putting on the aggression at the moment. Hera lost his scout. How much of the map has Hera seen? Not that much, to be fair. By the way, Hera hasn't seen a single relic except for the one to the rear of his own base. Oh, no, never mind. He has seen the one to the north. Okay, with that 1 scout. And there we go. Oh, I apologize. I thought crossbow Botkin, he didn't even have fletching. It is, in fact, skirmisher Botkin for our Burgundian, who is going to absolutely wreck these crossbows if they're not careful. Hera has literally 29 seconds to try to kill one of these basic skirmishers before they become elite. And even that is not really a given. Okay, now he's getting Botkin. So both players at a +2 attack. Hera, with those free Korean armor upgrades, is sitting at leather archer armor, the +2 armor upgrade. And now he's going to take the high ground. Nope, never mind. He doesn't want to take this fight at all, and I don't blame him. Not against the elite skirmisher with 4 pierce armor against your 7 attack, and then a +4 attack bonus against archers. I mean, if you're going to take the fight, why not take it up here on the high ground? Why? Oh, because you're luring MbL into a siege workshop. Okay. And this just goes to show you how insanely similar and the mentalities of both players here. I was going to say, I assumed this was going to be a siege workshop here for our Burgundian the second he saw the heavy archer play out of our Korean. Although when you're playing against the Koreans, if you're not getting tower rushed, if you're not seeing a lot of static defensive structures, it's a pretty good guess that they're going archer units. Much like it's a pretty good guess that the Burgundian will eventually add in a stable or 3. But for now, how long? Oh, how far away are we from a mangonel popping out? Just a few more seconds. MbL does have 1 less army count. He's down 4 villagers. Where are these miners going? Where do they think they're going? Okay, the game of mangonels has popped. And we are about to see some rocks being thrown, some micro being displayed, some units trying to evade. Okay, long distance stone mining. Interesting. Random monk in the middle of nowhere thinking he's going to head to this relic. With Korean army in the middle, also interesting. And very interesting that the mangonel actually died on the high ground. Generally, they can last a little bit longer when they're on the high ground against other mangonels. And that's all she wrote for Hera's offensive capabilities. And he is now retreating home with the bigger army of 13 crossbows to, what do we have here? 8 skirmishers. He cannot engage. That numerical superiority means absolutely nothing to a counter unit with that much armor. And a second town center very aggressively placed for our Burgundian. He needs, I guess, he wants castles. I mean, he's seen the secondary stone up here. This is not a bad location right here for a town center next to the wood, the stone, plenty of room for farming. This is a very aggressive town center. Hera, by the way, has gone up to 3 already and has extended his villager lead to 7 villagers. Ooh, MbL. Oh, that is sour AF. That was a complete missed opportunity. Hera didn't look like he was microing these crossbowmen at all. And MbL missed an absolute crazy opportunity to flatten maybe 6 or 7 of those crossbows. Okay, going after the monk. Skirmishers on the high ground do die, even to a mangonel. And now we've disengaged yet again. We're getting Sanctity for our Burgundian monks, so they'll be a little bit chunkier, a little bit thicker, a little, you know, spend a day or two at the gym every week, and so their HP will go up a little bit. I guess statistically not a little bit, right? It's 50%. Okay, MbL going around the map, hurting his not really hurtables, but wildables, as the battle continues here in the center between these low impact armies. Are we rushing up to Imperial for both players? I mean, the resources don't indicate it, but the lack of Castle Age fighting certainly does. By the way, did that tiger kill the spearman? We'll take a look in the second there in the bottom right, because I see that wild dot, but I don't see that yellow dot no more. Yep. hungry tiger. He doesn't take your frosted flakes and shove him. That tiger wants some meat, and so he has gotten it. Let's take a look as the players disengage what they actually have. We saw the siege workshop, we saw the archery range, the monastery, we know blacksmith. Interestingly, here to the rear for our Burgundian, another very aggressive TC. I mean, MbL is not playing it safe with his additional resources. Not that he really can with the extra gold, as we saw in the beginning, really very far in the forward position. So the name of the game here for MbL is keep the pressure on Hera, while he basically mines out all of these resources, and then maybe then he'll take the ones to the side. Actually, now that I think about it, taking the riskier resources when you see your opponent isn't really pressing into you is a pretty damn good stratagem. I say that a lot in Arena, for example. If you're the one putting on the aggression, take your opponent's golden stone before you take yours. Monks dying on both sides of the battlefield here. Mangonel attack round misses. Mangonel attack round misses. Hera's starting to lose a lot of crossbows here, though. This is not great at all, even though, remember, they do cost 50% less wood. That has no impact on their gold cost. And a very defensive castle here for our Korean, and a fourth town center. So we are definitely seeing some Imperial Age shenanigans this game. MbL says, I don't see you attacking me. I don't see anything here, so let me just plop down a castle right in the middle. I like your little suburb here that you built. I like the lanterns. I like the bamboo. I like all of it. Let me just tear it all the hell down. He's also at 3 town centers, but he is down 14 villagers now. Oh, how sour. MbL reveals the position of the castle. If you're not familiar how this works in Age of Empires, when you get attacked by a unit, you get line of sight around that unit. And so Hera would not have seen the castle here had the skirmishers not been standing right next to it. And so MbL inadvertently, or perhaps maybe advertently, reveals the castle to his opponent, and both players are heading up to Imperial. Okay, I figured with all the low friction, Feudal Age was kind of a dead space. Castle Age was fun, seeing them try to both evade mangonels. I mean, obviously MbL got the much better trades, losing monks and skirmishers to monks and crossbows, saving himself a little bit of that gold. And he's going to hit Imperial Age with a lot of gold in the bank. By the way, so is Hera, who's going to arrive there a few seconds behind him. But Hera, with more town centers, has racked up almost 3 minutes of TC idle time. Both players, I'm assuming, are going to want their 200 wood and 200 gold available in the next minute and a half so that Trebs can start coming out. Ooh, Hera going up here. What is the relic count? Our Burgundian has 3 relics to 1. Where is the last relic out on the map? I don't see it at all, which means there is some monk somewhere, either in blue or yellow garb, who is carrying that relic. Oh my goodness, is Hera, did Hera throw in a bunch of basic skirmishers? Yeah, he did. Now they're elite. Yeah, okay. Random skirmisher does move in here, chases to his death, discovers at least that there is now a castle. If he hadn't seen it before, the monk has to be very careful. There is a band of skirmishers here and a very antsy spearman who wants to make himself useful. And again, MbL, I love it. Taking the further stone compared to the nearest stone, an absolute brilliant move, because again, if you get pressed into here, you can now retreat into your safer stone. So at first I was a little bit weary of these two town centers. Wary. Whatever the word is, concerned for MbL with the location of these two TCs. But since Hera has not been putting on any kind of aggression whatsoever, so far a brilliant move out of MbL. Hera expands to the south. Are there resource patches behind this? No. I wonder why he placed the castle here and not a little bit more to the right to protect the gold a bit better. And we're an Imperial, and we're building up our armies. One player has added 6 Custeliers, whose basic charge attack is now at 20. And because it's so big, I believe the... what's the correct word for a charge attack? Reload time for that charge attack is 45 seconds. Uh-oh, Hera loses his Mangonel. Aside from the 0 trebs, now 1 treb that he has, that was his entire siege force. MbL's here with 2 trebs, a 3rd en route, a bombard cannon for him, 2 for Hera. How many siege workshops has our Korean mixed in here? Okay, so 2 of them. Hera's attacking the trebs are attacking the castle. Our Korean is repairing, but you are not a Georgian. You do not pay 25% less. Ooh, and monks are zoning out archer units here. This is not a very scary force out of MbL, to be honest. If Hera can press into here with his bombard cannons, it may not be good news for MbL, because again, these are skirmishers. It looks like the Custeliers are engaged in the south underneath a castle. We'll see how many of them have survived. Looking at the top of the screen, looks like 4, so 2 of them look like they've died. Hera is cleaning up the trebs, but he's losing his archer force. But does it really matter if you've cleaned up 3 trebs? Oh, but his castle falls. Now the only castle he has left is the one over here, which racked up 6 kills. It looks like those Custeliers did a good amount of damage. Skirmish, actually, it looks like all 6 Custeliers died. Big surprise, they have no attack upgrades and 1 armor upgrades. There's Burgundian vineyards. Those 23 villagers on food are going to start generating a small trickle of gold. So the relic count is 3-2. So it was a blue monk who was carrying the relic, the last relic. Oh, the last 2 bombard cannons in the forward position die. A reinforcement shows up, but again, MbL is channeling his inner Viper, trying to be very comfortable with a very small army count. But what I was about to say, not one player, but MbL, his relics generating food in addition to gold, his farm hands generating gold in addition to food. Or sorry, the relics generating food in addition to gold. Sorry, I got a little dyslexic there. My apologies. So it's an interesting little synergistic situation happening in the Burgundian side of the map. Speaking of, the Burgundian side of the map's about to get pressed into real good. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of barracks. Is Hera expecting a big cavalry transition as I thought we would see out of our Burgundian? Right now, our Burgundian's not really training any military at all. He's going to up to 4 extra monks, and that's it. He has just been placing castles. I mean, he's placing castles, which normally would tell you, okay, he wants Custeliers, which is exactly what Hera thinks, which is exactly why Hera's plopping down upwards of 7, maybe 6 more barracks, because he had the original one. That being said, our Burgundian, okay, he is getting Cavalier, but where are your upgrades? No attack upgrades still. He is going full armor upgrades, which, to be fair, against archers is not a bad thing at all. Unfortunately for him, has he caught wind of any of these barracks? No, he hasn't. MbL is about to get hit by a truck known as the Korean Halberdier, which is the only infantry unit that costs wood, which means Hera is paying 50% less wood cost for these Halberdiers. And oh my god, you'd think it was the Korean bombard cannon that came with the 25% stronger attack. How quickly did they destroy that castle? Where is the military industrial complex? It is up here to the north. Has Hera caught any wind of this? Absolutely not. Castle. Okay, skirmishers are going to try to delay as much as they can. We'll see how many kills they can ultimately get. I'll keep my mouse on those skirmishers for now, just in 2 villager kills. Or rather, 2 kills. I think they started with 1. Anyway, we'll have seen that in picture. More monks out of our Burgundian. Oh, he converts a bombard cannon, fires on the archers, kills, it looks like just a skirmisher. And here we go. Here are the towers. They have 11 range. They can go up to 13. Remember, as I mentioned, the Koreans can upgrade their towers with Eopseong. They get +2 range. Treadmill crane for our Korean as well. I mean, Hera is so cocky and confident that he can take down this castle. He's building infrastructure within the death zone, the radius of the castle. Has he seen this one up here? He has now. And now MbL's in a bit of trouble. Hera's army count is starting to get a little ridiculous, 65. It can go up to 73 based on his villagers, and it just hit 73. But we're also seeing paladins out of our Burgundian. He's going up to 15 paladins. Oh, no, not now. At least wait 50 seconds. Oh, at least he's getting engaging downhill is the only silver lining that I can see against these halberdiers. Otherwise, why is he engaging into halbs? He's 30 seconds away from paladins. Ouch. No trade is a good trade in this scenario here for MbL, who, to be fair, is pushing Hera back with just a pair of knights here. And now in 3, 2, 1, paladins. The Burgundian paladin, a little lackluster, similar to the Celt. They are missing bloodlines. But forget bloodlines. These guys are just missing a whole bunch of upgrades. So MbL's relying on the skirmishers to kill the halberdiers quickly, which will allow the paladins with the 160 HP to close in on the stronger archer units and maybe even the bombard cannons to the back. So far, mission kind of accomplished. Where are the reinforcing paladins, though? Not that many. What is happening here? It looks like our arbalesters... Did one of them get converted? Oh, well, I've seen that. Oh, yeah, there is a monk here. He did convert the arbalesters. Or rather, an arbalester. Yeah, this is not a sustainable strategy here for MbL. Not against a never-ending push. I mean, look at this. Is he the Koreans or is he the Goths? Did I just see architecture getting research? And oh, Hera. Oh, for a second, it looked like Hera was going to research murder holes. But instead, he's getting arrow slits for these towers. Towers, which, by the way, now have Eopseong and will have, or rather do have 13 frickin' range. Look at their attack now with arrow slits. 15! Hera is just bringing to bear the entire might of the Korean civilization right now. The only thing missing, literally the only thing missing from our Korean right now is Mangonel line units with 10 range. Everything else we're seeing here, discounted armies, towers with 13 range. I mean, this is the Korean specialization here. Another castle falls. One last remaining castle to the north, to the south. Oh, he's streaming in paladins from the stable all the way to the south here. And yeah, like I said, it's not sustainable here for MbL. The name of the game right now is who can reinforce their meat shield the most. And when you're comparing paladins to halberdiers with a 50% cheaper wood, not that halberdiers really cost that much wood. Ooh, look at this, an attempt here on the left side to snipe some of the trebs, but they run into pike interference. Bombard cannon is on the high ground, not a single villager helping to repair it at the moment. Korean villagers are falling, they are dying. Hera's attack is stalling a tiny little bit, but not for very long. Like I said, look at the reinforcements. You'd think he was playing the Goths here. Saving grace for MbL is he's got a castle and he's got his units on the higher ground, it looks like. But then again, the keep does attack on a 15, and even your 6 pierce armor is not going to last very long. Maybe if you were Vietnamese and you had a little bit more HP on your skirmisher line units. But nah, MbL gets pressed back, and now this castle is in jeopardy. It's got 600, 300 HPs, back up to 600, 200. I feel like an auctioneer. Hey, 600, 200, 300, 200. Sold! As our Burgundian runs out of stone, which means the next flaming ball... Oh, you started repairing right as I said that. The next flaming ball it takes it down. And now to add insult to injury, to add salt to the wound, A big, juicy Korean castle with 5808 HP. And this army of Arbalesters out of our Korean is just nigh invincible at this point. There is not much that MbL can do, and that is exactly what happens. The momentum, holy moly, what a fun game. These two, I mean, when MbL plays Heart, I always point out how their games are, on the whole, if I was a betting man, and I am, would bet that they're super duper fun. But lately, Hera and MbL have just been tearing into it one another. And as kind of meandering as the Feudal Age was, and kind of lackluster as the Castle Age was in this game, Imperial certainly made up for it. And this is a ridiculously ludicrous number of Arbalesters. 77 kills. Look at the kill count at the end of the day, though. I mean, Hera's score is, what is that, like 40, 50% bigger than his opponent? Higher than his opponent? But look at the total kill count. MbL actually has 17 more kills than his opponent. Hera managing to kill 60 villagers. MbL only 23. But the total kill count after 51 minutes is literally 5% apart. That's how you know you're watching two incredibly powerful players play this game, or gladiators fight in the arena for our entertainment. Halbs to skirmishers, paladins to Arbalesters. I mean, on paper, it certainly does look like MbL should have stood a much better chance here. His paladins aren't even fully upgraded, though, at the moment. Okay, so he is missing Blast Furnace. If he had caught wind, I wonder if he had seen... He still, by the way, ends the game not seeing the bear. If he had seen this, do you think he would have gone heavy cavalry? I don't know. Or would he have tried to play some mind games and lured Hera into thinking he was going heavy cavalry, and then pressing that button, showing up with 117 Flemish militiamen? Not that he had the resources for it, but what a ridiculous fun game. Lately, when these two meet on the battlefield, it's always so much fun. Custelier here, 4 kills. Paladin, a single kill. These are not numbers you want to see on your units. Where the hell are these two guys hiding in the middle of a forest? So a few little things here and there. The ultimate reality, though, is for MbL that there is nothing he can do right now to stop this push. And again, I absolutely loved. You see how he's taking the closer gold right now? Because he took the further ones. And the stone as well. Absolutely epic play out of MbL. I love when players originally take the riskier resources when they see their opponent is not really out on the map. And oh, speaking of unique units, there's a random war wagon here with 13 kills. Oh my goodness, I completely missed that war wagon. Maybe it's because the interface, I didn't see it. 13 freaking kills on a single war wagon. But look at that base attack of a 9. Like I said, one of the highest archer unit base attacks of in Age of Empires. And more towers, more towers, more towers. Absolutely. What a ridiculously fun game. Peak APM for Hera about 5 minutes ago. Peak APM for MbL towards the beginning of the game. What do we think the economies are like? I can't imagine they're too different. Yeah. Relic gold, about an extra 1,000 for our Burgundian. I wonder if the food is included in here, because the food is basically identical. Literally 200, 190, or 202, right? What is this? No, 198. 198 chicken nuggets. Right? At 25,000. Whatever it is, doesn't really matter. Just about 200 difference in food count. Wood is also very similar. Gold, a little bit more for our Korean. Stone count, identical. This happens sometimes when the players mine out the stone. One of the players always has a little tiny bit more. Even though, look, there's 0 stone out on the map. They should both, I think, technically have 4,200. But one player always has 4,204. I don't know where this extra 4 stone comes from, to be honest. We've seen it before. I've raised the question before. I still have no clue what the answer is. It doesn't really matter, though. Our Korean takes all 4 of the resources, gold going to our Burgundian, who, remember, also generates food in addition to this gold at the rate, I believe, of 1 for 3, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry. Not 1 for 3. 30 food per minute per relic. So with 3 relics, it's 90 extra food every minute, which is basically every 2 minutes you get 3 more paladins that you can train, basically. Conversions 5 out of 305 is just over 1%, just between 1 and 2%. Not really playing a role. Raisings, holy moly, 32 to 9. That's a big difference. And look at the oh man, what a ridiculously fun game. What a fun game. MbL, as we saw him when he was playing as the Malay against Hera, when was it, 2 days ago? Really put on a decent amount of pressure early on. It wasn't the strongest pressure. He had an opportunity here when he showed up with skirmishers and mangonels and monks, and Hera was basically down to some crossbows, and his mangonels were all dead. He had an opportunity maybe to place infrastructure in a bit more of a forward position. He went with a middle of the road castle, and then Hera placed a very defensive castle. If you've got Hera on the defensive, on the ropes, you have to press your advantage, because otherwise, I mean, to be fair, that stands for all of these high elo players. If you, or to be honest, any player, if you're the one putting on the aggression, generally you have more control of the game. You set the pace, you set the unit type, you set where the battles happen, which is exactly what Hera is doing, which is exactly why this gold never got mined out, and this gold is now getting mined out, even though the stone got really nicely taken here by our Burgundian. Ultimately, he cannot compete with the never-ending push, and like I said, maybe if MbL had seen these barracks, he would have known that they're, hey, wait a second, you are investing significantly into halberdiers. Let me try to counter that. I am the Burgundian. I do have a little thing called a hand cannoneer, and that little thing called a hand cannoneer does come with a 25% extra attack. So instead of doing maybe, 17 damage, they do 21, and on top of that, a 10 attack bonus against infantry. Although in this case, he went full on skirmisher, and does look like he has chemistry, so he could have pivoted into hand cannoneers, but doesn't matter. Coulda, shoulda, woulda doesn't really play a role. 51 minutes into the game, it is our Korean who busts the north location of the base. And by the way, kudos to Hera for not going to the south, because there's literally nothing here. MbL's base, I mean, this is one of the weirdest starting settlements that I have ever seen. There's literally nothing here. He walled it off. This big space. There's nothing. There's a hill. Okay. Enjoy the hill as Hera slams into your real town center settlement location here. Most of your farms, your military industrial complexes here, it's getting destroyed. And with that, Hera just presses in too much with the static. And like I said, technically classified as a defensive civilization. You wouldn't freaking know it by how players are using these towers, and a castle always defensive / offensive. So Hera literally throwing everything that the Koreans have at his opponent, with the exception of their mangonel lines, and it cracks the Burgundian open. He cannot reinforce the paladins. His meat shield is just not there, and so the arbalesters have an absolute field day as pikeman after halberdier just falls, and that is exactly the whole point of these units. It's to die while these arbalesters, look at them, focus firing on the paladins, and Hera just plays an absolute brilliant game on the offensive. MbL for a while held until he could hold no longer, taps out, lives to fight another day, and it is Hera who is victorious. But GG to both players. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips and make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so that you're notified of my latest uploads.